Hi guys, hello. I see Celia's lurking because I'm pretty sure they're doing stuff. Hi Zan. Yeah, story time. A hydrate, thank you. I will probably need that a lot today. It's gonna be a shorter stream. We're only gonna go for like an hour, 2 hours. We're gonna sort of use this as a timer of how many chapters can we get through. I think I'm gonna only go for like an hour. I think we're gonna do an hour. Um, and we're just gonna see how many chapters or whatever we can get through as sort of a timer. Um, or we might see how many chapters we can get through at the hour mark, and then I'll decide if we want to finish the chapter we're on and use that as a timer. I don't know. We're gonna figure this out as we go. Hi, Firebat. I'm gonna change to a different playlist real quick. Because I sort of want to keep music going, but I want to have it sort of in the background, not, whatever, so no words, just soft music today. But yeah, we're gonna just test things out today. How I have things set up today is not the way I want to have things set up today for reading this, just so everybody knows. I would like to make it to where it has like a border around the screen when I bring the book up. I will change that for next time we do this. So next Tuesday, I'll change that and get that fixed. That way it is not as much as just a blank white screen that we have to all stare at because we're all suffering. We're all gonna suffer in this non-dark mode prison. Such a high chance this is gonna make me fall asleep. That is fair. That is a good chance, honestly. Now I need to do a couple things. So, I need to fix the Discord thing. Hold on. Okay, there we go. That should do that. That way, if I bring the Discord up and people join, they should be there now. Doing coursework, great. I love reading being read too. This is gonna be great. Wonderful. For anybody who is in the Oopsall chat, you are free to come join me in reading or just hanging out in the VC. I don't mind. I have the book up in there as well. So, yeah, that's gonna be open if anybody wants to do that. Because I will say, so, okay. A couple ground rules while we get into this. A couple ground rules real quick, okay? Okay? Rule number 1. If I stammer through words or have to repeat a sentence because I lost where I am, we ignore it. Rule number 2. Don't ask for funny voices. You're not getting them. Not from me, anyway. If other people join the call and want to do funny voices as they read, that's fine. I'm not that guy. Rule number 3. If you find this boring, I don't care. That's where this is. This is vibey time. This is, I'm gonna read y'all a story, and you can either pay attention or you can chill. I will have the words for the book. I got an ebook for this, so I will have that on screen for y'all. Which brings us to rule number 4. There is no dark mode. You have to suffer. I will try to change this to where it will have a border at least around it to help tone down the white page. But for now, we suffer. We suffer together. And we live our lives and we continue on. If we have any other rules come up, oh, actually, no, there is a rule number 5. I do not control the character names in this book. They are boring. They are silly. They are such random, basic bitch names. It's just how it is. Also, if I pronounce any names and you think it should be pronounced something else, which, just words in general, if you try to correct my pronunciation, I don't care. I do not care. I will pronounce it how I want, and if you think it should be pronounced another way, then I do not care. Unless I know for a fact I'm saying it wrong, then I will care. But I will then ask everyone, how do you pronounce this word? How do you pronounce this word? Because in my brain, so in my brain lives many pronunciations for many words, right? And there's only a few that I will fight people on. But, yeah, when I'm gonna be fully honest, I have stage fright when it comes to reading out loud, so this is to sort of help break that. So we're gonna see. But yeah, we're gonna do this, and we're going to try and not have me lose my mind, which is very unlikely. But yeah, okay. Where is my thing? Okay, everybody, flashbang warning. Flashbang warning. Nope, it pulled up that instead. It pulled up my Twitch. Why? Why did it pull up my Twitch? That is not what you are set to, excuse me. Why? Why, though? You are not set to that. Excuse me. You are not set to that. Excuse me. Window capture, you're drunk. Where are your properties? I literally set this up beforehand, and it just decided, nah. Nah. Where? Excuse you. There's the flashbang. There it is. Okay. I told you. I'm not even going to attempt that word that you just gave me, Firebat. I have a way that my brain wants to say it, but I'm just not even going to attempt. That's where I'm at. I'm not even gonna attempt. Which is how I go about things when it comes to words that I don't know how they're pronounced, by the way. It is usually just I refuse to pronounce it. That's how some people get nicknames from me, by the way. If I absolutely think I am butchering your name, I would rather give you a nickname and call you by that than disrespect you by not being able to pronounce your name. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Anyway, We're gonna start with the prologue because this book has a prologue for some reason. Um, you know? Da 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 da. Let's see. Okay. So we're gonna get started. Again, I don't like reading, so don't expect any funny voices from me or dramatic tellings or yada yada. I might get into it, I might not. Right now, I got nerves, so we'll see. Carl wasn't sure why a bunch of undead mobs had decided to attack the raiding party of Illagers who'd been roaming through the lands outside of the village he adopted, but he didn't question his good fortune. He'd been spoiling for a fight all week. Now, on this otherwise dreary and rainy day, he finally had one on his hands. A smarter hero might have found a comfortable place to sit. Any clear stretch of grass or even a convenient tree stump would do, and might have watched the entire battle unfold in the clearing below the hill on which he stood. Would have been easy to just let the two sides fight it out, wasting all their energy on each other. In the end, there might only have been a few foes left over to take care of, or maybe just to run off. But Carl was a man of action, a hero in his own mind, if not in the mind of others. So help him, the fight looked like fun, and he wasn't about to let all those fools down there have all of it. Bellowing a loud, wordless battle cry, Carl drew his iron sword and charged down into the fray. A wide and reckless grin creased his face. The undead mobs were too focused on the current foes to notice the screaming hero racing towards them, but the Illagers spotted him and began to break off from the fight. Carl cackled with delight at their reaction. Clearly, his reputation as a mighty warrior had preceded him. He could understand why the Illagers would flee before him. They had lives they valued. The undead, who weren't burdened with such treasures, continued to ignore him, though. They chased after the Illagers instead. Carl knew it wasn't terribly fair to attack foes from behind, but he never worried about such things. After all, the undead were mobs, right? And there were so many of them, it only seemed wise. I will never get over the fact that this guy's name is Carl. They wrote all this about a guy named Carl. He waded into the skeletons and the zombies, swinging at them from behind. Also, I'm not doing sound effects. If you want to read that, by all means. I'm not doing it. He mowed them down like fresh grass, his blade singing a metallic song of death. Death to the undead, he shouted as he struck again and again. If he stopped to think about it, which he wouldn't, those words wouldn't make any sense. But he didn't care. The undead weren't about to correct him. Carl smacked a nearby skeleton, knocking it into a pile of bones with a single swing of his sword. He stopped to shade his eyes from the rain and watch as its bleached skull arced high over the fleeing Illagers and landed in front of them. They skidded to a halt before it, horrified at what its sudden appearance might mean for them. Carl threw back his head to laugh at their reaction, but when he was through, he saw that the remaining skeletons and zombies had finally figured out that he was the bigger threat and had turned on him. The skeletons spread out to flank him, already peppering him with arrows from their bows. Meanwhile, the pack of zombies lunged towards him, filling the air with their wordless groans. Carl's smile grew even wider. "Bring it on," he shouted, as he plunged into the crowd of zombies and slung his blade back and forth. smashing down foes with every strike. There were downsides to being a hero. It was a lonely job in a strange land where you couldn't make a bit of sense out of the local language. You wound up saving the place over and over, and no one ever bothered to say thank you. The only people who really got him were other heroes, and they didn't always want to have much to do with him either. But Carl didn't care about any of that. This was what he lived for. He never felt more alive than when he was beating down mobs and taking their loot. The zombies crowded so thick that around Carl that they couldn't get. Bleh. Sorry, this is what I mean by restarting sentences. The zombies crowded so thick around Carl that they couldn't all get at him. Despite this, the skeletons kept shooting at him, planting arrows in the backs of their zombie pals. Carl spun like a top, hacking away with his sword in every direction. Zombies fell away from him, toppling like saplings before an axe. Few of them managed to lay a rotting finger on him, and even those glanced off his armor, leaving him unharmed. As the crowd of groaning zombies around him thinned, an arrow finally made its way through the melee and caught him in the shoulder. It stuck in his armor as if it had been fired into a tree. The tip of it had punctured the iron and stabbed into his skin, although not much farther. The magnitude of the injury didn't matter to Carl. The fact that he'd been damaged at all made him see red. "Hey," he shouted at the skeletons. "That hurt." Furious, Carl put down the last of the zombies with a few quick blows and turned his attention to the skeletons. "You'll pay for that," he told them, "with your bones." He flanked the skinny monsters, moving to line them up in a row so they couldn't all shoot him at once. Then he began chopping his way through them like a farmer taking down grains at the harvest. The creatures peppered him with arrows, sticking several more into his armor, but all they did was make him angrier. Fighting skeletons was supposed to be fun for him, not dangerous. As the last bony beast fell before his mighty blade, Carl let loose a howl of triumph and spun about to see who else might want a piece of him. His eyes fell upon the hapless Illagers who had turned to face him, their weapons out and ready. Apparently they'd found their courage in the defeat of the undead. They were too witless to shiver at his approach. Foes with any brains in their heads would have fallen to their knees and begged for mercy. But these nomadic raiders actually charged at him as if they stood a chance. The ridiculousness of the moment brought a laugh to Carl's lips once again. The anger he'd felt at the skeletons faded away, and he roared with delight as he threw himself and his sword against the oncoming Illagers. Before he could reach them, though, one of the Illagers, a particularly short one with a massive nose, raced forward, spun about, and shouted something at his compatriots. He seemed to be pleading with them to show some sense, something that Carl had long decided wasn't worth bothering with when it came to such people. "They won't listen," Carl said to the little Illager. What song is this? Sorry. Excuse me, book. I love when things jump around. There we go. "They won't listen," Carl said to the little Illager, even though he knew no one could understand him. They never do. Out of morbid curiosity, he held up and let the tiny guy speak. If the imp wanted to keep his buddies from trying to take off Carl's head, well, he wasn't going to stop him. But he wasn't going to lower his sword either. Sorry, checking Discord message. We're out of sodas in the house, so I'm trying to see about getting my roommate to pick up caffeine. Anyway. The little guy gibbered along in his barbaric language, begging the others to see reason, to be swayed by the power of his logic, emotion, and words. Carl marveled at it in the way he would have if he spotted a two-headed pig roaming around the village. Amazing, but really besides the point. Didn't matter how crazy it looked. Wasn't going to make a difference. In the end, he was still going to whack it out with his sword. Probably. The other Illagers listened to the little guy for a moment, but they steamed at him, clearly unhappy with whatever he was blathering about. The little guy's voice rose almost to a squeak as he reduced himself to what Carl could only interpret as actual begging. It ended when the Illager standing right in front of the little guy reached out and smacked him on the side of the head with the flat of his sword. That put a sudden end to the squeaking, and the little guy toppled right over, senseless before he hit the ground. Hi, Jazz. Yeah! You came in at a great moment. I saw Discord light up and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna finish the sentence. Alright. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Before the bigger Illager could even call for an attack, Carl took him out with a sharp snap of his blade. He recognized a fight starting when he saw one, and he wasn't going to get caught flat-footed. It's on, he shouted at the Illagers as he barreled into them, knocking them over like bowling pins. It's on. Over the course of the next few minutes, Carl systematically took down each and every one of the Illagers. Some of them fought well, most of them didn't. Some of them tried to flee. He didn't let them go. In his experience, if he allowed them to get away, they'd only come back to bother him later, or torch the village, or annoy him in some other way. The only way to make sure that didn't happen was to get rid of them for good. He might have felt bad about it, but they were the ones who attacked him, even after he'd saved them from all those undead mobs. Not an ounce of gratitude from any of you, he said as he surveyed the tattered battlefield and the utter absence of anyone to stand against him. So that's what you get. A high-pitched groan sounded from across the field, and Carl perked up his ears and squinted around to see if he could detect where it had come from. It stumped him at first, but after a moment, he spotted an Illager stirring on the far side of the field. He said as he strolled over to check out the one survivor. Thought I got them all. So for anyone who hasn't figured it out, Carl is a hero. Heroes are player characters. Yeah. Yeah. No, this book has a lot of fighting in it. So, yeah. Anyway, hi Jazz. Now that I've finished that page, would you like to take a page? Oh, we already went over the rules of I don't care. Like, that's fine. Did you not just hear me go blah, blah, blah while reading halfway through a sentence? You're good. I believe in you. Yes. Is it not working? Hold on. Are we meant to be able to hear Jazz? Yes, it should be working. Hold on, wait.
I'm just a voice in your.
Nope. Hold on. Hold on, I gotta do something. No, it's not that actually. Another thing didn't do a thing. Hold on. We're gonna go to the chatting screen for a second.
You know what? While you do that, I need to let my Discord know that a stream's gonna be delayed.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Don't eat that. That's mine.
Okay, can we hear things now?
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, cool. I had to fix a thing. I had to fix a thing. But we are good now. We are good now.
Cat, that is chocolate, and I can't have you licking that. Stop it.
Why not?
Because it's my host brownie. She can't have it.
Dang. Can't believe you don't want to share.
Share with you, but not with my cat.
But I am a cat.
I just remember what you told me about earlier today.
I got you there, don't I?
I know, everyone knows.
Yep,
Oh,
anyway.
speaking of adding on to that, I do the same thing, by the way, with the phantom limbs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I do the same thing.
Yeah. God, what rule are we on? Number 6 or 7? Whichever one it fucking is. Another rule is don't get upset for us with just randomly stopping to chat in the middle of reading this. It's going to happen.
This is true.
Anyway.
Hold on, I'm almost done.
Jizz has to have snack.
Yes. Also, I have to be a good streamer and let my community know that stream's gonna be delayed.
Wild. What do you mean
Wild.
you don't just hit the go live button whenever?
What do you mean you actually communicate with your community? That's crazy. All right. Oh, that's trippy. What the hell? That's hilarious. I can move this? What? What do you mean I could just grab and move this?
Jez is currently discovering a whole new world, apparently.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, goodness. Congested. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Let me drink some water. Chef, when I tell you I have stage fright, this is part of the stage fright.
Oh, same.
So if I start crying, you'll know why.
You got this.
I need something so I can point, so I can keep reading. You know what? Sure, we'll use my snips. Little thread clippers I can use. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When he reached the soft groaning illager, he realized his mistake. This one was much smaller than all the rest. Ah, said Carl, as he recognized the illager who'd tried to talk some sense into the others. The little guy with the big mouth. He knelt down next to the creature and turned him over onto his back. Onto his back. Nice try there, fella, he said with a chuckle. I mean, it was worthless, but I respect the effort. This What does that say?
It says sawed off.
The sawed-off illager gazed up at him with dismay and then tried to retreat. Since he was already on the ground, all he could do was worm his way on his butt, but right up until he bumped into a tree stump behind him. Carl got up, put away his sword, and dusted off his hands. I'm not gonna hurt you. he told the little guy. You did me a solid by distracting that big fellow away anyway. Once I took him out, the rest of your little band of misfits went down easily. God, what an ass.
Mhm.
The body the little guy had run into let out a low moan. Carl edged up to the fallen illager and leaned over to get a better look at him. Was at him. Was that the one he stabbed to start the battle with them? Honestly, he had a hard time telling the bandits apart. That's all right, he told the little guy who goggled at him, ogled, goggled at him for with fear stuck in his eyes. He doesn't look that much of a threat to anyone at the moment. Carl backed off a few steps and smirked down at the little guy. Neither do you. He was feeling magnanimous at the moment. All he'd wanted to do was keep the mobs away from the village, and he managed that. Mopping up the last injured illagers just didn't seem worth the bother. An idea struck Carl then, something that would make him seem clever rather than lazy, at least his own at least in his own estimation. Tell you what, he said to the little guy. The other illager seemed too miserable to manage to listen. This is your lucky day. I'm going to let you and your groaning pal there go. You know why? The little guy couldn't possibly have understood Carl's words, but maybe he got the gist of them from his tone. Either way, he shook his big nose head in terror at just the right time. Carl flashed a wide smile. Because you're going back to wherever you rotten, scummy illagers came from. Uh, Illagers call home, and you're going to tell the rest of your kind not to come around here anymore. This village is under my protection. You get it? And when your people ask what happened to you and all of your friends, I want you to tell them one thing. You're going to make me keep reading, aren't you?
Go, go, go.
Carl held up his index finger to emphasize this particular point. One thing, right? The little guy gaped at him while he tried to parse what to do. Maybe he gave up, or maybe he's finally got it. In any case, he nodded so hard in agreement it looked like his head might fall off. Tell them my name. Carl pointed at himself. Tell them, Carl. Carl, that kills people. Carl!
Carl just killed a lot of people. All right.
Carl, that's genocide.
Also, the
That's
roleplay
mass
streamers have
murder.
stage fright. Yeah. It's different
Yeah.
when you're, improving.
There's a script here I have to read out loud. Did you guys not just hear the amount of times I struggled?
Same though, Jez. Same though.
There's a reason why when we did popcorn in school, I read a word and then immediately popcorned it off to someone else, or I'd hide behind someone and try to be forgotten.
I usually just tried to duck under my desk to where it looked like I wasn't there that day. Like when the teacher would go around like trying to get somebody to read, I would casually need to be looking into my backpack for something.
Mm-hmm. Or if they're like, okay, you're gonna read like this paragraph and this paragraph, and so I'd have to read ahead to find which paragraph I was gonna read.
Mm-hmm.
And read that 5 times over, ignoring everyone else to make sure that I didn't stutter or mess up or ask what that word was.
I would either try to avoid reading altogether, or I would volunteer to go first for the first
Mhm.
paragraph, get it over with as quickly as possible, and then zone out into like a small panic attack for the rest of the time we were reading.
Yes. Reading out loud is my worst
Yeah.
nightmare. I could
Uh,
not tell you.
that's why I don't really do it on streams a lot, but I know I need to
Mhm.
get better about it. So, especially with some stuff coming up, I need to be able to read it out loud. So, we're
Mm-mm.
working on that with this. And we're getting through a book I really like that is going to be important to my streams later on. So yeah. Anyway, that was the prologue. And
Fantastic.
just to get me through the prologue has taken about 30 minutes. Mhm. Now
Oh,
the
I gotta
funny thing is,
say.
I could go grab the physical copy of the book and tell you how many pages that is in the book,
Oh, Jesus.
because it isn't much. Um,
Guys,
but
this is a Minecraft
yeah.
book meant for children.
Yup. It's great. It's a Minecraft book meant for children, and so many people have died.
You know what? It's good for children to understand mass murder. To be like, yeah, that's bad. That's real bad.
Is
Don't do
it?
that.
Is that
Yes.
the...
Yes. History repeats itself,
I
Saf,
would
and they
like to
don't
point
know
out,
history.
I would like to point out this book is labeling Carl as a hero.
I know, but even heroes are bad people.
Dang.
No one can be a true hero in everyone's book.
Let's just get real deep real quick. Okay, let's see. How many pages in this physical book is the prologue? I'm about to find out. So in the physical book... Okay, that's not too bad. It's like 4 pages front and back.
Terrible.
Let's see.
Again, a kid's book.
Yeah, so each chapter is about like 4 pages front and back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so if I do 2 hours, that would be about 4 chapters. So I think for today, we're gonna do the first chapter and then call it a night, because we're baby stepping this.
Yes.
We're baby stepping this.
Are we still doing lessons on Utopia tonight?
I don't know.
That's fair.
Was No, I thought that was Thursday.
No, Hereafter's Thursday.
Is that Thursday?
Yeah.
We'll do it eventually.
Okay. Fair enough.
Whenever my brain has enough brain power for that.
Yeah. You have a bunch of other things happening on Thursday, but yeah, no, like Thursday.
I have many things on many things, with many things and many things.
This is true. This is very true.
Yeah. Shrug. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we're gonna start reading the first chapter. And... Yup.
Yeah.
Archie couldn't stand it anymore. The so-called hero, who had taken down the rest of his raiding party, strolled off, leaving him there among the ruin of the failed battle. And he hadn't been able to do a thing to stop it. All Archie could manage was to seethe in frustration and fury. Sure, technically, he could have picked up a sword and chased after the man, but what good would that have done? The only way that venture could end would be with Archie utterly defeated, and he had a rotten enough day already. He didn't want to cap it off with that. Instead, Archie pushed himself to his feet and surveyed the complete disaster that surrounded him. As the run of his band of villagers, he was used to having bad days, but this topped them all. It was awful enough that Archie had been roped into joining the patrol designated to defend the rest of the Illagers from marauding mob of undead that had been wandering too close to their lands. But to wind up as the only survivor, he didn't think he could return to the rest of the Illagers if he had to bring home news like that. Enough of them already hated him that they'd probably kick him out of the tribe. And if that happened, he didn't have anywhere else to go. Archie had fully expected to meet his end today at the clawing hands and teeth of a zombie or a skeleton's arrow. The irony that he had failed at even that made him struggle to choose between laughing and crying. He decided to do both. As he stood there, racked with sobbing guffaws, someone smacked him on the back of the head. So, something about this book. This writer really likes using really random words for no reason.
I was just noticing that. I was like, "What is happening? Why?
Such as
What?"
magnanimous and guffaws.
Uh, I know, I'm like, "That does not mean what you think it means."
It does. It does.
Does it?
But it's not
Magnanimous makes me feel
usually
like
used that way. It does mean
yeah,
that.
no.
However, it is not usually a lot of these words are not usually used in this scenarios. So,
No.
just
'Cause, like, you magnanimous is like you're staring at something in awe, right? Or, like,
not always.
like,
Not always.
what?
But yeah. So, just if a word seems out of place, it's cuz it is. Anyway,
God.
Archie spun about, figuring the hero had changed his mind and decided to come back and finish off the job. He almost welcomed that. At least it would put his misery to a quick end. Instead, he found himself face to face with something even worse. Thord. Thord had been Archie's nemesis since childhood. The vicious Illager had picked on Archie relentlessly for as long back as either of them could remember. The simple sight of Archie skulking around the dark forest in which they lived often spurred Thord to torture Archie with terrible taunts and even magical spells. Of course, Thord usually spent whatever spare time he had plotting against someone. It didn't take much to encourage him to ruin someone's day. The elders in the Illager's woodland mansion had tried to clamp down on his tendency towards violence over the years, which perhaps explained why Archie had somehow managed to survive this day. But they'd failed often enough that Archie flinched every time he encountered his old foe. Unfortunately, he hadn't scurried away fast enough that morning when the elders had called for volunteers to join the raiding party. Thord had pointed out Archie trying to slink off unseen and had insisted on dragging him along instead. Just so I can keep an eye on you. The one bit of good news about everyone else in the raiding party being taken down was that Archie wouldn't have to worry about Thord picking on him anymore. It might have been a small consolation, but he had clung to it. But somehow, Thord had survived too. Of course. Thord snarled at Archie and staggered over toward the small Illager, nearly tripping over the hem of the long dark robes that marked him as an evoker, a dangerous Illager spellcaster. Archie could see how the hero had thought had taken care of the Illager. He looked more than half dead. If he'd stayed on the ground, Archie would never have suspected he was still breathing. Don't just stand there gawking at me, Thord said, his voice curled with humiliation and disgust. Help me out. Archie wanted to mock Thord in Evoker's moments of weakness, but he worried that Thord might still have enough energy to attack him with a spell. He leaped forward to try to support the Evoker, who was wobbling precariously on his feet. Weak as he was, Thord smacked Archie away with the back of his hand. The small Illager tumbled to the ground, clutching at his stinging cheek. As if a weakling like you could hold me up, Thord said with a shaky, frustrated sneer. Find me a staff, or at least a sword. But the undead are all destroyed, and that hero's gone too, Archie said, both with uncertain and suspicious about Thord's intentions. Lucky for him, Thord said as he staggered forward. And for you. Now get me that sword. Archie glanced around frantically and found the weapon Thord was pointing at. It was battered and notched, but at least still in one piece. He snatched it up and handed it to the evoker without bothering to clean it off. Thor didn't seem to care a bit about how battered it was. He just grabbed the weapon by the hilt, stabbed it into the ground, and used it as a crutch. Then, finally stabilized, he gazed out over the battlefield and frowned. Archie didn't say a word. He knew from experience that anything could send Thord into a fit of rage, and he didn't want to trigger that. Not now, for sure. After a long moment, Thord spoke, his voice rough and low. So it's just you and me then, is it? Archie nodded. Thord sucked at his teeth and grimaced. You're going to pay for this. Archie's jaw dropped. But I didn't have anything to do with this. I barely fought at all. Exactly, Thord said. When your people needed you most, you curled up in a ball and ignored them while they screamed for help. They fought on valiantly, while you sat there and let them be defeated. I Archie couldn't believe what Thord was saying. How could anyone think that of him? He hadn't want his people to lose. True, he hadn't done much to prevent that, but that was beyond his control. As Thord and the others had taught him over and over throughout his life, he was a weak creature who couldn't make a difference in anything, no matter how hard he might try. And now Thord was going to hold him responsible for that? Archie cringed in fear. I'm worthless. I always have been. I didn't even want to be here in the first place. And that's my point. You would have happily allowed that hero to defeat us all, the entire tribe, if you'd had your choice. You don't care about any of us. You let that hero destroy us. And don't think I'm going to let you get away with it. Archie collapsed to the ground, unable to bear the horrors of the accusation. If Thord managed to limp back to the tribe and tell them such awful things about him, they'd probably destroy him on the spot. The best he'd be able to hope for would to be eternal banishment. Oh, please no, Archie gawked at Thord in dismay. I knew this would go wrong. I just knew it. I told you. Thord scoffed at him. Like mere words have ever helped with anything. It pained Archie to hear a sentiment like that. As weak as he was, and as little as he knew of magic, a sword was useless to him. All he had was words. I knew exactly what was going to happen as soon as that hero arrived, and I tried to warn you, Archie said, trying to explain. I wanted to save you. I wanted to save us all. Thord snorted at Archie as if the pathetic Illager had fallen into an outhouse and crawled out of the filth on his hands and knees. You go ahead and try to tell that to the others. See what they have to say. He started staggering back in the direction of the Illager mansion, deep in the nearby dark forest. Wait, Archie said as he scampered after Thord. Why torture me? I'm no threat to you. It's that horrible hero you should be angry at. Thord didn't bother glancing over his shoulder at Archie. He's not at fault here. Can you really blame a hero for being a hero? It wasn't me who destroyed the others. Archie scrambled to catch up. I'm no hero. Haven't you had enough of them pushing us all around? Illagers never run from a fight. Never. We ran from the hero. We were regrouping. Archie ignored the lie. But we couldn't have beaten one of them with a single patrol like that. We didn't have a chance. Book, please.
Ad.
Shush. It's trying to tell me I am not logged in properly. And I am. So one moment. We're gonna go back to the chatting screen for a second.
Whoop.
Did it Hello thing, did you mayhaps forget that I am logged in?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, it did.
yes it did. It in fact did.
You have been logged out. Hey, you're not supposed to be here.
Yes, I know I have purchased this ebook. If you would let me open it, please, that would be great. Now I'm getting it back up. It's just being dumb. it was like, you've been logged in too long. You need to re-log in, please.
Oh, oh, oh. Ah, table of contacts. Ah.
I have to fix a thing. Boop. We're gonna change that. Okay. Nope. Make it bigger. Okay, for
Oh
some
God.
reason, it has decided that, the layout of the
Ugh.
pages is going to change. It's fine.
Yes, it really did. Oh goodness me. That is so big. Hello?
I'm
What?
trying to fix it, but it keeps going
Uh,
let's just be tiny or really large.
uh,
Okay, we're just gonna go with this and call it a fucking day.
yep.
Um, okay. Back to blop. Blop, blop, blop. It's fine. It's fine. It is a-okay. Uh, actually, I need to change this little bit. Nope, that's not what I was trying to click on. Okay, well. Sorry, I'm trying to fix this a little bit. That way you could still see, like, the bottom line of text. You know, that's good enough, I think. That's good enough. You maybe missed one word. It's fine. It's fine.
You don't need that one
Hydro
word.
No, of course not. Um, why would we need that one word? That'd be silly. Um, anyway. Ba 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 ba. Okay. Blah blah blah. Archie. Blah blah blah. That was my whole entire point. Archie grabbed Thord by the elbow. Thord ground to a halt with a painful wince and glared down at him. You coward. He spat at him, striking him square on the side of his face. Archie wiped his
What?
cheek clean. We should have gone for help. We could have rallied the entire tribe together to take care of him. Think what that would mean. Thord rubbed his chin while he considered this. Mobilizing the entire tribe to gang up on a single hero? Exactly. Hope leaped in Archie's chest. Think about it. Think about how many Illagers there are compared to the heroes. If we could just gather every Illager, we can find and pit them against the heroes. Nothing could stop us. Thord snorted in disgust. You really are the most worthless Illager I've ever known. Imagine 5 patrols working together, or 10, or 20. I'm in charge here. If we brought all those Illagers together, who would be in charge then? Archie knew that it was all about power for Thord, much as it was for most Illagers. If only he weren't so short-sighted. But we fight heroes all the time, and how often do we win? Thord shook his head at Archie like he was an especially stupid child who'd been struck in the head far too many times. We don't hunt heroes. We just hunt, and we take down whatever we can. That's our way, and it always has been. There's no reason to change it. So, it's really funny that Thord is just like, yeah, no, Archie's probably that kid who's been hit too many times in the head. Like, dude, you have probably given this kid so many concussions.
Like, I'm pretty sure you're the one that caused all of that.
If this man has concussions and brain damage, sir, it's because of you. Archie pointed back at the battlefield where they'd suffered such a terrible loss. Isn't that reason enough? Thord grunted. What would you have us do? Start farming? Build villages? Become civilized and weak? He sneered down at the smaller Illager. I suppose you're already halfway there. We have to try something new, Archie said. What we've been doing clearly isn't working. New heroes arrive here every day. It won't be too long until they build a village of their own. Maybe a city, even. You're a fool. And when that happens, they'll be unstoppable. We won't just lose a raiding party to them. We'll lose our entire tribe. That's cowards talk. Instead of the hunters, we'll be the prey. They'll track us down and destroy every last Illager in the land. Even as injured as he was, Thord moved faster than Archie could see. One instant, he was leaning on his sword as a crutch, and the next, the flat of the blade was smacked into the side of Archie's head. The impact knocked Archie sprawling backwards, stars spinning in his eyes. It took a terrifying moment to recover his senses, during which he fully expected Thord to finish him off. When he finally regained himself, though, Archie saw that Thord hadn't bothered to keep at him. He just stared off toward the dark forest once more without uttering a single new word. If anything, that terrified Archie even more. Okay, and there's chapter 2. We're done for the day. We actually hit the hour mark. So yeah.
Hey!
2 chapters is 1 hour. We'll probably start doing Tuesday streams for like 2 hours, so that'll be like 4 chapters. How many chapters are in this thing?
A good question.
Hold on, there's somewhere up here. There is 27 chapters, but there was the prologue, there's an interlude, and then there's an epilogue. So, about 30-ish chapters. So, we're gonna be here a hot minute for a good few Tuesdays. Unless we end up doing some longer streams and knocking it out real quick. But, yeah, that's gonna be it today for this. Because I need to baby step into reading. But, y'all got to at least sort of meet Archie a little bit, my baby boy, my sweet little lad. Hold on. I can probably pull up a picture of Archie real quick.
Archie, he's just a little guy.
He is just a little guy. me... Ba 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 ba. This is the little lad.
Yeah.
This is little Archie. We love him. He's so tiny and pathetic. He is the embodiment of wet cat energy most of this book, just so y'all know. He will also be our main character for this book. So, get to know him well. He's a little guy, and we love him. And I'm
The
sure
little dude.
if you don't know anything about Minecraft Dungeons, or you don't know anything about anything having to do with this book or anything like that, you know, I'm sure nothing at all bad will happen.
No, definitely not more mass murder.
Nothing bad will happen to this cute little guy at all. I'm sure this book is going to be about all of his wishes and dreams coming through. The real underdog story, you know? He's gonna go from being a tiny little guy to being like the cool kid in the tribe. I'm sure that's how it's gonna go.
You're
He's
leaning
just-
it on a bit too thick there, Saf.
I know I am, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be a fun time, and I expect to probably at some point as this goes on get yelled at. It's okay. But yep. I'm gonna end stream there. Who is streaming right now? Because I know people are
A lot of
on
people.
hereafter.
We have a Mel, a Jace, and an Omi.
So many people are streaming right
Yep.
now. I haven't actually gotten the chance to raid Mel before. We're gonna do that.
I was just about to suggest that.
Yeah. I raid the others sometimes. We're gonna raid Mel this time. So yeah, I'm gonna send y'all off to Mel. And I'm gonna go die in a hole for a little bit.
I'll be there with you.
Yeah. Reading? Oh. Well, yeah. Bye, guys. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye, chat.